Good morning and welcome to your second summer special. These lessons are aimed at Key Stage 3 students. There are going to be some questions that are accessible to Key Stage 2 and some challenging ones that in Key Stage 4 you will still have a good challenge ahead of you. So for those of you who've watched my previous lessons, the format is a little bit different because we're going into summer. We want some challenges. We want some fun lessons. We want to challenge our brains, but maybe in a slightly different way. Most of my lessons are going to be live. The first few, however, need to be recorded because I have some family commitments and I'm not around to do them live. But the format will generally be the same. Unfortunately, I just don't have access to the live chat, but you can still put comments at the bottom of the video. And I'm also setting up a Facebook page so you can put comments and upload your work there as well. Right, so the structure, we've got some core numeracy questions, about 30 of them to start with. And then we're going to be doing some challenging questions beyond that. 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 10 o'clock in the morning. And about half an hour. Sorry, I'm being distracted by my daughter who's waving at me at the moment, so forgive me. Please subscribe, please share, please let people know about this. I am absolutely delighted to be doing it, but the more people that can watch it, obviously, the more benefit there is. So yeah, so that's it really. Let's remind you what you need if you are new to this. 2 pens, preferably one's a different colour for marking. A ruler if you have one, because as maths teachers, we love the work to be set out neatly. If you have a book, if you brought your maths book home, you might have a book with squared paper, but a little notebook or some paper so you can keep all your work nice and neatly. You don't need one of these. You don't need a calculator, and you don't need a calculator because we are using our amazing, fabulous brains. Half an hour, 3 times a week, through the summer holidays. It will make a massive difference to your transition into your next school year when you finally go back to school in September. Okay, so let's get started. We have 30 questions coming up, and you have about 2 minutes for each set of 10 questions. Actually, before we do that, for those of you who watched the lesson on Monday, I need to go through that question first. Let's do that first. Right, this was Monday's takeaway challenge. All right, so we have a lorry that can carry up to 10 tons. And the company has 40 crates that need to be transported. Each crate weighs 3 tons. And we need to work out how many lorries we need. If you haven't had a chance to look at this, you can pause the lesson now and have a go. For those of you who have, let's go through the answer together on the board. All right, so I've summarized the question here. Each lorry carries up to 10 tons, and we need to transport 40 crates. Each crate weighs 3 tons. Okay, so let's see if we can break this down. We want to make it easy for ourselves. So I'm going to write what I know. So each lorry can carry up to 10 tons. So one lorry can carry 10 tons. But hang on a minute. Each crate weighs 3 tons. So I need a multiple of 3. Well, 10 is not a multiple of 3. So we're going to have to change that, aren't we? We're going to have to say one lorry can carry 3 crates. Okay, and that is 9 tons. Okay, so we've got a little bit of spare capacity on each lorry, but there's nothing we can do about that because the crates can't be split up. All right, that's 3. We've got to get to 40. What about if we had 10 lorries? That would be 30 crates. We're getting closer. We have multiplied by 10. So we can now transport 30 crates. All right, not bad, not bad. What about if we had 3 more lorries? So 3 more lorries. Okay, that would be 9 crates. So now we've managed to transport with 13 lorries 39 crates. We're nearly there. But remember, we need to transport 40 crates in total. So my last lorry for my last crate is only going to have 1 crate on it. But we need that extra lorry. Whoops. 40 lorries, 40 crates. Can you read that? Let me just check. Just about. Let's move that down a tiny bit so you can see. Okay, so 14 lorries are needed for 40 crates because that last crate has to go in a lorry on its own. So the answer is 14 lorries. Okay, please feel free to put something in the comments at the bottom and let me know how you found that question. Now it's time to do our 30 questions. We have 2 minutes approximately per 9 or 10 questions. Let's get started. You have 30 seconds remaining. Part 2 coming up. 30 seconds remaining. Part 3. Thirty seconds. Okay, your time is up. Let's see how you got on. Starting with part 1. Question 1, 3,245. Question 2, 493. Question 3, 51.04. Question 4, we can write that as 105 over 1,000, or we can simplify it down to 21 over 200. Question 5 is 97.73. Question 6 is 15. Question 7 is 98. Question 8 is 17. And our parent versus kids challenge question for 2 marks. If A is 5 and B is 9, we need this, B is 4, sorry, we need the square root of 9, which is 3. Let's move on to part 2. I am being encouraged by my helper to use the pointy stick.
For Joe Haylock, if you're watching.
Okay, so question 1 is 71. Question 2 is 4. Question 3 is 20. Question 4 is 51. Question 5 is 78.948. Question 6 is 3/4. Question 7 is 3. Question 8 is 144. And our parents versus kids challenge for 2 marks. 80% of £180 is £144. Finally, part 3. Make sure you're marking these as we go through, hopefully if you can with a different coloured pen. Question 1 is 88. Question 2 is 87.7. Question 3 is 1,580. Question 4, 31.88. Question 5 is 1/8. Question 6 is -9. Question 7 is 81. Question 8 is -3. And parent versus kids challenge, 120% of £125 for 2 marks is £150. Great. Okay, so we have a slightly different format to our previous lessons. So we are not using the beat the clock board. We are going to go straight into our first challenge question. All right, so I'm going to give you a few minutes, see how you get along with this question. Let's go. I'll just quickly read it out to you. 300 students are asked how they travel to school. 60% say they walk to school. The rest travel by car or by bus. The ratio of students who travel by car to those who travel by bus is 2 to 3. How many more students walk to school than travel by car? You've got about 1 more minute. Okay, we're going to take a look at this question together, but remember, if you've not quite finished it yet and you want to give yourself a little bit more time, feel free to pause it on the question and keep going. Right, I've put some of the details up here. So we have 300 students, 60% walk, the rest travel by car or bus, and the ratio of car to bus is 2 to 3. It's always good if you can write the key bits of information out first. Okay. So, 60% walk. Well, we know the whole amount, the 100%. 100%, we know that that is 300. That's everybody. But we don't want 100%, we want 60%. So maybe we could work out what 10% is by dividing by 10, if you can see that, dividing by 10 on both sides. That means that 10% is 30 students. I can now build it back up to get my 60%. My 60% is 180 students. Now, some of you might be able to just go straight in there and say, I know that 60% is 0.6. 0.6 multiplied by 300 gives me 180, okay? So there are many different ways of doing this, but I like setting it out like this. It means I'm much less likely to make a mistake. Okay, so we know that the number of people who walk is 180 students. That means the rest travel by car or bus. 300 subtract 180 is going to give me 120. But I need to work out that of those 120, how many are car and how many are bus. So we're given a ratio now. The key thing to remember with a ratio is we always put a little title above our ratio so we make sure we get it the right way round. So I'm going to write a little title of car and one of bus. So my ratio is 2 people in a car for every 3 people who travel by bus. So now I'm going to add my 2 and 3 together and I'm going to say that makes 5 parts. So if I only had 5 kids, 2 would be in a car, 3 would be on a bus. But I don't have 5 kids, I have 120 kids. So instead of 5 here, I need 120. Now, some of you might know, but just by looking at this, that if I multiplied 5 by 24, I would get 120. But if that's not immediately obvious, we can break it down and maybe say, well, let's just double it to start with. Let's multiply by 2. So I've got 10 parts on this side. I've got 4 here, and I've got 6 here. 4 plus 6 gives me 10. And now I can see to get from 10 to 120, I'm going to multiply by 12. As I say, you can multiply by 24 in one go if you wish, whatever you find easiest. So now I've got 4 multiplied by 12 gives me 48 travelling by car. Okay, the number travelling by bus is 6 multiplied by 12, that gives me 72. I can double check by adding these 2 numbers together and making sure that I get 120. So I'm nearly there, I've done loads of good work, loads of good maths, but if I'm not careful, I'm in danger of missing out some marks because I need to go back to my question. And my question actually says at the bottom, how many more students walk to school than travel by car? So we've not actually answered that question yet. So let's have a look. How many more students walk, 180 walk, than travel by car? So I'm going to subtract the people who travel by car. Because I put my title here, I know that 48 is the number that travel by car. I'm not going to get my numbers mixed up. I'm going to subtract 48 and I'm going to get 132 more students walk than travel by car? Okay, pop it in the chat, not in the chat, sorry, in the comments at the bottom. Let me know how you got on. I'd be really interested. Right, you've got another challenge question coming up. Challenge question number 2. Now, if this was a test, you'd have it in front of you, but you don't. So you might want to sketch it out and see if that helps. Off you go. I'm going to give you about 1 more minute. Just going to pause you for 1 quick second. I owe you an apology. It says what fraction of the area of this square is shaded. That shouldn't say square. It should just say shape. So I'm just going to give you 30 more seconds. Okay, let's take a look at it together again. Pause now if you want a little bit more time. Let's have a look. I've drawn it up on my board. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully it looks the same. Okay, so we want the fraction of the area of the shape that is shaded. So I've got two boxes that aren't shaded, so they're quite easy, the whole boxes. Let's look at the partially shaded boxes. Can you see that this here is a half of one of the squares? Yeah, that's that one there. And there's another half here. I could put those two halves together, couldn't I? And make a whole. Okay. I've got, let's get a different colour. I've got two squares here. And half of those two squares is shaded. So can you see that that bit plus that bit is one square? Okay, because it's half of two squares, one square. Okay, let's take a look at this. Right, so that bit is there. Now this is a whole square that's shaded. So there's a 1 for that. And then this top section here is half a section that is shaded. So I have 1, 2, 3. If I add those all together, 3.5 of my squares are shaded out of a total of 8 squares altogether. The question is, what fraction of the area is shaded? 3.5 out of 8 of our squares are shaded. So we've got 3.5 out of 8. Well, that looks a bit strange, doesn't it? We've got a fraction in a fraction. So we need to do something with our fraction using equivalent fractions to get rid of that fraction in a fraction. Now, there's lots of different things you could do. You could multiply by 10, but I'm just going to double the numerator, and the denominator I'm going to multiply by 2. So I'm going to multiply my numerator by 2, that gives me 7. If I multiply my denominator by 2, I'm going to get 16. So I have 7/16. I'm just going to have a quick check. No, I can't simplify it any further. So my final answer is 7/16. All right. So now you've got 2 quick dingbats coming up. Here's your first one. Pause if you don't want to know the answer. It is after the fact. Next one. Did you get that one? Bit of a cheeky one. There was a clue to say it's to do with maths equipment. The answer is ruler. Last question. Right, so this is going to be your takeaway challenge. You will get the answer for this on Friday. I'm going to read it out as well. Make sure you can see it. So it says, Sally has 5 red cards, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. She also has 4 blue cards, numbered 3, 4, 5 and 6. Can you find a way in which Sally can line the cards up so that the colours alternate and so that the number on each red card is a factor of every number next to it? Whew. That is quite a challenge, isn't it? Good luck. Take your time, draw it out. If you've got 2 different colours, it will really, really help you. Good luck. See you Friday. If you're still there, I'm being reminded by my daughter that she's been decorating my whiteboard. I don't know if you saw it. Hold on, let's go in, move.
Oh, I'm here.
Right, look.
This is it. I've done a
Summer
little corner.
holidays. She's done a beach, some people on the beach. But I think her favourite thing, zooming in.
It's the ice cream.
Is the ice cream. Right. Anyway, back to your
the review
takeaway
question.
challenge.
Takeaway challenge.
See you Friday.
Bye.